face too. Low, a little low belly. Just grounding in for a few moments, feeling the power of the earth below us. Feeling into that sacred portal of all creation that is our womb. Connecting to this sacred part of our bodies that we often do not give enough honor, reverence, gratitude. Just breathing into this sacred space for a few moments here. Letting your womb feel that you are here, that you are ready to deepen and open, connect. One of the ways that we connect more deeply to our womb space is through our voice. So opening up our voices to open up the womb. As part of our body, we are taught in our society to suck in, to hold tightly. Lots of women get liposuction on this part of their body. I invite you in this moment to really just hold this space with deep love, to remember that this extra beautiful pouch, like a little kangaroo pouch that's here, is to protect the most sacred part of our bodies. One of the most sacred parts. They're all so sacred, but from this place is where we create, cultivate, gestate life. None of us would be here without this sacred portal of all creation. And that extra squishy flesh and padding is a powerful protective layer. So I invite you for a moment to just really pour some love into this place. Maybe just rubbing her gently, just thanking her for all that protection. If you feel called, maybe even saying sorry for those moments of shaming her, making her wrong or bad or too big, too much, not enough. Being angry for whatever pain that might have caused you from PMS or whatever you might have been going through. Just asking for forgiveness. Saying, I forgive you. I love you. Thank you. I honor you. Just noticing the sensations to connect here for a few more moments. Just nurturing her like a mother would nurture her baby. Just rubbing her, loving her. Letting her know that you are ready to open yourself to her medicine, her infinite wisdom, to the magic that lives within her. the voice. Just pouring just a little more love into her. Maybe letting go with another sigh out, shake, sticking your tongue out, any little parts that want to be moved. Giving it all to the earth. To the earth as an offering. She can hold it, she loves it, she receives it as an offering. Placing one hand on your heart and the other still holding your womb. Connecting with your heartbeat, that spark of life that was first sparked when you were within your mother's womb. Connecting with your mother, your mother's mother, mother's mother's mother, from this sacred portal. Feeling the magic of your lineage. All of which has made you who you are today. Feeling the connection, that spark of life in your heart, that spark of life that is created, gestated in our wombs. Remembering that no human comes to this planet without entering through the portal within our bodies. The portal of all creation lives between our thighs and within our wombs. And when we have moments of forgetting just how powerful we are, I invite you to place your hands here on your yoni, on your womb. Breathe deep, sighing out. Remember that this is how we all came here. The portal of all creation is within you. You have the power to create worlds. You are the creator of life. Just remembering to come into this awe, this wow, the wonderment, the miracle of this life, the miracle that you be, the miracle that is every single one of us, that lives within everything, everyone. More deep breath in. We're going to sound together. Ma. Two more. chest. Feeling it radiating out through every part of your body, through everyone in this circle, through the earth. When you're ready, slowly opening your eyes. Thank you all for being here. This, what we just did, is a foundation of transforming the extreme pain that a lot of us go through every month. It's coming into deep gratitude and awe and reverence, because many of us are very angry at this part of our body and have experienced a lot of so much pain within this part that we end up cursing it, cursing our blood, cursing the feelings. Here, if we can open up a little bit. We scoot. Everyone wants to scoot closer and back. And then Olivia, if you'd be open to kind of helping support with that.
Yeah.
Thank you, and bring it closer to you. Thank you. So maybe actually raise your hand if you've ever experienced really deep anger towards your womb or your yoni or your blood or your PMS in any way. See? Anger, pain, frustration, any of those things. Amazing. So you're not alone. It's a very, very common thing. And the practice that we just did, for those of you who are just joining, we just did a simple, like, deep connecting to our wombs and holding and caressing and loving, honoring, opening up the voice and coming into gratitude for this part of our body. And that really is the foundation for how we start to transform our relationship to our cycles. So everything comes back to relationships. Everything is relationships. How are you relating to your body? How do you relate to your being? How do you relate to your cycles as a woman, as a woman? We are deeply run by our cycles. We are so intrinsically connected to all of nature, to all of life through our cycles. And this is a part of us that we have been taught in our modern society to hate this part of us. They actually call it period. What is a period? It's like the stop. It's like stop everything. And like this is something, even the name, it's like, and the way that we've been taught to only use like pads and tampons and to throw this blood away every month. And we've been taught that the blood is disgusting and gross and we don't want to look at it and it smells bad and all of these horrible things that are, the programming is to keep this part of us that's like taboo, in the dark. Don't talk about it, don't look at it, put it away. And the way that we start to really shift our relationship to these portals of all creation that live right here in our bodies, you have the ability to create life. All of us got here through this part of a woman. And so honoring that and really coming into deeper reverence with that is how it begins. So doing a simple practice like that, and one of the things that I love to do is when you have those moments of anger or frustration or pain, is to actually hold and just thank you, and to come into that honoring that your cycle and whatever your sensations you're experiencing are actually a beautiful gift what a gift that we have the ability to give life, that we have the ability to create worlds, and to really allow that gratitude to be felt, and to allow her, these parts, to feel that. So as we open more fully our voices, are all of us somewhat aware of the connection between the voice and our yonis? You guys aware of that? So the more that we open up our voices, if we can try to, can you try to scoot this way even a little bit more? So, because we want to try to be in a circle so no one's in front of. Do you want to try to scoot back a little bit, Chelsea? Or Shanti, sorry. Perfect. Thank you so much. And we have this pillow here. Okay. Did you need a pillow? So when we're in pain, also I want to get an idea, raise your hand if you experience pretty intense cycles each month. You raise your hand so I have an idea. Are they, okay, so just a few of us, right? So is the rest of you pretty like light, like kind of like not too heavy or like painful or anything? Kind of like medium, not too bad, okay, amazing. I find that as women get older, it starts to get more intense. When I turned 30, it was wild. My very first cycle after 30, it was like, what is wrong with me? Because I had actually spent my entire life like never having any symptoms of PMS from the time I first started bleeding till 30, like zero. And women, I would hear other women talking about how they like couldn't go to work and how they had all of these like really intense experiences. Like, wow, I don't even know what that's like. And then 30, and it just like bam. And it's because there's a major change in our hormones that happens when we start to get older. And a big part of that also is our bodies are really wanting to create life. And you know, that idea of like the clock ticking, that is an actual thing that starts to happen, where the body, it goes into like a deeper sense of almost grieving that you're not creating, that it hasn't created life yet. And so what I find is that it's actually just an opportunity to deepen with our wombs. It's like, okay, you've matured enough, you've been on this planet long enough, it's time to go deeper into the magic that is here. Because our wombs, the alchemy that is available here within our wombs will literally transform your entire existence. The way that you experience life will completely transform when you choose to dive deeper into our wombs. And actually this book right here, Womb Awakening, Initiatory Wisdom from the Creatrix of All Life. This is a very, very, very powerful book. Highly suggest everyone getting this book if you want to dive deeper. And this is exactly it. It is an initiation. It's an initiation to be a womb carrier, and it's an initiation to choose to dive deeper into the alchemical magic that lives within our wombs. And so by choosing even to just show up here today and start to open up into this magic, or choosing to come to the red tent to have conversations with your sisters, or to just start to pull the thread of all of the lies and the programming that we have, that has been placed upon us, is the beginning of the initiation that starts to happen. So, you know, really congratulations for choosing to show up here and for choosing to come to the red tent and open yourself to this magic, because again, it's something that is so taboo, and it's something that's been pushed down so much that it's basically like we have these blinders on, and we're only seeing through this little tiny lens of like, take the pads and the Midol and you're on birth control to try to suppress it, and this is like what we've been taught. And this little tiny portion of it is actually so distorted, and it creates so much more pain overall for the entire world. One of the things that is really part of the power that lives within here, and I'm gonna kind of just weave in and out the three topics that we're on that we're covering today. Blood magic, the power of our blood truly has the capacity to transform the way our collective culture is running. So much so that there's a prophecy that says that when all of the women, the womb carriers, give their blood to the earth, that the men will come home from war. I want to just feel that for a moment. When we give our blood to the earth, the men will come home from war. I'm gonna just breathe that in for a moment, because there's a lot to that. This is a very simple way of putting it. We're gonna deepen, but just feel that for a moment. The simplicity of that. When we give our blood to the earth as an offering, there will be no more requirement for bloodshed. We have been taught to throw our blood away. We've been taught that it's disgusting, smelly, something to be not talked about or looked at or celebrated. And part of the magic of our blood is that it is such powerful medicine that when we give it to the earth, she receives it as an offering, as food. And truly coming into this knowing that the earth actually requires blood. The earth requires blood as an offering to be able to be fed. She needs to be fed. The earth needs to be fed, just like everything, right? We all need to be fed in some way, shape, or form. And the more that we can give offerings, the more that everything is fed, and we take our rightful place in like the cyclical nature of all of life. And so one of the things that we can do every month is this magic that naturally pours out of our body is craving to go to be a part of something, because this is a part of the life cycle, right? When we bleed, that is the potential of life. That is the egg that wanted to be impregnated, that was like here and like ready to become a baby. It didn't become a baby that month, and so you are shedding the inner linings of the uterus, and all of that magic, the tissue, all of the stem cells, and there's just so much in that, all of the minerals, all of that magic is essentially just kind of going to waste in a sense when you are just flushing it wherever you're taking it, or in the trash. But to actually choose to intentionally give it to the earth is such a powerful gift. And this is one of the ways that we also transform our experience of PMS symptoms, and how we create more hormonal balance as well, because it's the way that we create balance in our body is to be a part of the cyclical nature of all of life. And we have really lost that in our modern day society. And so to be an offering, to live in the beauty way, I don't know if everyone has heard that term, but to live in the beauty way is to live as an offering, to live life as a ceremony, to be so beautiful. And it doesn't mean makeup and done up, it's not that kind of beauty, but to be so beautiful like a rose, fully in its naturalness, right? The rose doesn't have to put on makeup and like do its hair and get dressed. It's like, you're just fucking beautiful, thank you. And it's to be such a thing of beauty, of purity, of a living, breathing altar, that you are an offering everywhere you go. You are constantly giving offerings, from the breath, from our song, from the way that we dance and move, from the way that we touch ourselves and everyone around us with the way that we be. Through giving, even from like the sacredness of our fluids of all of our body, whether it's our urine or our amrita or even our saliva, like all of our fluids are sacred, all of our excrements are sacred. And the way that we have been living for the majority of the life of humans on this planet was giving it to the earth. Toilets is only a very small amount of time that we've had toilets. It was always, that's part of living in right relations, living in the beauty way, is to give our offerings back to the earth. These things that are come through us freely and naturally as a part of the physical vessel of a human body, it are these beautiful gifts, and they are to be given back to the earth as much as possible. So even like the more that we come into more tribal living and communities and having composting toilets and different ways of being able to live in reciprocity in that way. And one of the simplest things we can do is give our blood back to the earth, and to create a ceremony around it where you are having that moment when you're bleeding and coming into that honoring moment of, you know, your body is kind of going through a mini grief process of like, wow, I didn't have a baby this month, and I'm purging and releasing all of this. And that's why often women kind of need to go into a little bit of a cave, because you're basically going into a death portal. And whether or not you choose to honor that portal because you're doing so much and you're so busy, you know, that's a part of this society we're in. And ooh, yeah. Wins. So to be able to have that moment of awe and reverence, and to allow yourself to have that death, that moment of honoring the grief that your body might be going through, which sometimes is what is like the pain that you're experiencing, is this calling forth of your body to have a deeper connection with what is actually going on. There's so much stuffing down of the feelings, of the emotions. You know, just take pain pills, just take, you know, get on birth control if you don't want heavy cycles, like whatever it is, or you just keep going, you keep doing, you keep showing up to just try to work harder, make more money. But what's happening in our body is actually really big. It's really profound. And when we can give some space to actually just be with what is taking place in our body, that is how we start to shift the relationship. Remember, it all comes back to relationship. So it's how are you relating to the cycle that you are naturally a part of. And part of this is to remember that this is something that is not going anywhere. Like, this isn't going anywhere. This is life. You chose this body. You chose to be a woman. This is not something that you can escape. There's no escaping it. It doesn't matter what you do. I've worked with women who had really severe endometriosis, cystic fibroids, and ovarian cysts, pre-cervical cancer, all these different things. And so they chose to get these surgeries. And I worked with a woman who's only 23 years old, who had an entire hysterectomy at 23, because that's what her doctor told her was best for the amount of pain she was in. And a month later is when she found me, after she had her hysterectomy at 23, and she was still in the same pain and was going crazy, because she just spent all of this money and in the most pain of her life, and gave away her ability to ever have children at such a young age because her doctor recommended it, and she was still experiencing the same pain. And she was just like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And I cried with her for like half an hour on the phone, just like feeling so much like, oh my God, like what the fuck is wrong with our world? And I helped her. The foundation of the transformation was connecting to her body, because her body was crying out to connect with her. And that's why she was in this pain. And so just because she got it all cut out, her body was still craving the connection. So it didn't matter that she cut out her entire reproductive organs, everything, fallopian tubes, the eggs, like everything was taken out. It didn't matter, because her body still required that connection. Do you have a question?
My mother froze her uterus about a month ago, and she also called me last week with the same thing. Like, I'm in so much pain, I don't know what to do. I'm still suffering, grieving, and I can feel a loss in my body. What do I do?
So it's a very common thing. And the beginning steps, like there's so many layers to this, and this is only, I'm not watching the clock, but this is only a 1 hour talk. we're gonna 2:32. Okay. I think I have until, is it 1 hour? Who's so women here? Okay.
I think we have lenience till 4.
Okay. So, you know, obviously there's a lot of layers. We're going deep and surface and like all of it, but just know that, you know, there's a lot here. There's a lot here. But the way that we begin this journey is really through connection. Because the separation, our separation to our bodies, our separation to earth, our separation to each other, our separation is an illusion. And it ends with connection. And so if your body is experiencing any type of pain, constriction, that, you know, that contraction, that clenching, all of these kinds of sensations, it is your body screaming out for your love, screaming to you to call forth your attention. That's all it really wants, is your attention. And so that is where it begins. Again, there's many layers, but that is where it all begins, is choosing to connect with that part of you that is screaming. So I invite you from here on forward, one of the most powerful things you can do is to take any pain in your body, or like I said, constriction, contraction, that like, whether it's stabbing or it's, you know, dull, whatever it might be, a headache even, right? It's to then go to see that as that part of your body is asking for your attention, for your focus. The thing that we often do is stuff down. We stuff it down, we cover it up. I gotta keep going, I don't have time for that. Let me take a pill, whatever it is. And that is what most people have been doing their entire life, because this is what we've been taught. It is through, one of the things I like to say is that the only way out of anything, of any situation, of any pain, of any trauma, of anything that keeps occurring in your life, like the only way out is through. And the only way through is in. You must go in. It's not out there. It's in here. So when we reach for a pill, when we reach for a surgery, when we reach for these things to try to make it better, we do drugs, we do another ayahuasca ceremony, more ketamine. Heck, it's ridiculous. It's not in it. It's not in that. And maybe that'll help you remember. Maybe you'll have a journey and it'll help point you back to the truth, but it's going to keep pointing you back to your body. It's going to keep pointing you in. And this is, you know, think about it, it's like lessons from birth, right? You get pregnant, you have those moments. I mean, I've felt that where it's like, oh fuck, like I don't actually have physical babies, but I've like tuned into that energy of like being pregnant and be like, wow, the only way out of this is through. Like you're gonna have to birth that baby at some point. You can't just, it's not gonna stay in there forever. Some way it's coming out. And that same energy of like the only way out of this situation is I have to go through it. And so you can keep stuffing it down, you can keep getting the surgeries, you can keep taking the pills, you can keep doing that. That's a choice. And if you actually want to, if you choose to dive in, if you choose to really dive in, that's where the medicine lives. That's where the transformation lives. That's where the initiation lives. Just like this book, Initiatory Wisdom from the Creatrix of All Life. This is the initiation. And when we choose to dive in, that's when we choose to show up for the miracle, the magic, the life that is here for you. And it really is for all of us, because as we transform, as we heal, as we open, as we dive deeper, we are doing it for the collective. It's not just for you, but this is where it starts. If you want to go, you know, heal the world, you want to stop the war, you want to go do all these things out there, again, it's actually not out there. It's in here. This is where it all begins. And so the deeper you go in, the more you will actually see the transformation reflected outside of you. You will see the collective shift that happens more and more and more and more the more you dive in. Boy. So this, you know, cleansing elements. The elements speak to us just as our body speaks to us. As within, so without. As above, so below. It is all connected in this universal flow. The life and death, the rebirth of it all. It is all here for us to come home to. So the deeper that we dive into this magic, to this medicine, to the miracle that you are, to the connection, the intrinsic connection that is literally here for you. Just like, hey, I'm here. Wanna come hang out with me? Wanna play with me? It's calling for us to stop being so distracted, right? Hi. Welcome. It's calling for us to redirect that energy. Because so much of what we're doing is grasping outside of ourselves, looking for a partner, looking for the thing that we didn't have when we were a child. And the foundation, part of the foundation of this is coming into deep nurturing of the mother. It's moving from the maiden into the mother. From the princess to the queen, essentially. Like when we are, but maiden to mother is it feels very much like the energy of what is happening collectively in our world right now, like what's really being required, like what we're being pulled up to rise into. Because the energy of the mother, for many of us, we did not get nearly enough physical contact, like skin to skin contact, breastfeeding, looking into the eyes, holding. Many of us, and not just women, men, everyone, like all humans, did not get enough of it, period. In other cultures, they wear their babies on their bodies, doing everything. They're cleaning, they're washing their laundry, they're cooking, they're hanging out in their communities, their baby is on their body. Even when they're like pretty big, they're like wearing them. And in America, they like put the baby down and keep them in the stroller and in the rocking thing, and they're so busy and they hire people to watch their babies, and there's just not enough of that connection. So it starts with us in our mother's wombs, and then when we come out of the womb, it's we just came out of the most like warm, cozy, like just being held, and we come out into this world and like, what the fuck? It's like you still need that. You need that to be a whole version of you. And because we didn't get that, it's not our fault that we didn't get that, right? It's not our fault, and it's up to us to take responsibility for the fact that we can't do that over, but we can make a choice for how we're going to show up differently. And so part of the foundation, again, of this transformation of the relations between us and our wombs and our cycles and our blood and our hormones, that foundation lives within you, choosing you like you've never chosen you before. And what that looks like, what I guide people into to begin to create this depth of choosing you, is to mother yourself. Is to, if you think about what you would have, like what was the kind of love that you really craved from your mother. Like to be just gently caressed and loved and held and honored and seen and supported, and to be told that your emotions are safe and healthy, and to like let it all out. It's okay, like you're so safe. I've got you. I love you. I'm here for you. And that fierce, it's like the nurturing and the fierceness of the mother. Because the power of a mother can literally, when you have your baby, you step into superhero powers where you can fight off anything and you can, lift cars up to save the baby. Like, that's real. That energy, that power that we can call upon is very real. And in order to create the balance of that motherly love, it also is a fierce love. It's like that part of you that's like, oh, I want to do this because everyone's doing it. And your mother's like, no, you're not doing that. You're staying home. You're going to nurture your body. You're going to have a bath. You're going to go to sleep. And so part of creating that foundation of stepping more deeply into the mother is to be able to become so in tune with your body, your intuition, that it becomes not just this like little quiet whisper, but it actually becomes a very loud voice that you actually can't ignore it. It's so loud. And what that voice comes in is often the sensation of pain. So these different feelings of pain, we all have a different like way that it might come through. For instance, for me, it really is my womb. She yells at me if I am not listening, very loud. Other people, they get chronic throat, like they're chronically have sore throat, or like whatever, like strep throat, different things in their throat, right? Or they have like a thing with their sinuses, or whatever it might be. So feeling into like, what is that thing for you? Oh, I have migraines. I always have migraines. So whatever that's the thing that is like the part of you that's like, hey, stop doing shit, slow down, tune in. What are you doing? You're doing too much. It's basically the voice of like, stop, you're doing too much. Time to slow down. And again, we often silence that voice. I've been like, shut up, I got shit to do. I gotta make more money. I gotta just take some pills and like put it away so I can keep doing. But that is where we flip it all on its head. And I know it can be like really challenging sometimes to like take this on, because it's literally going against everything we've been taught. Truly, we've been taught the exact opposite of this. So what I'm saying can feel very radical. But one of the things I like to say is that the greatest act of rebellion is to love yourself fully. The greatest act of rebellion in a world that literally wants you to hate yourself is to love yourself fully and to choose yourself fully. And when you do that, everything, every relationship, your relationship to money, your relationship to work, to your partners, to your parents, to the earth, to animals, to material things, like your relationship to everything transforms when you start to step more fully into connecting really, really deeply with yourself. And you start to listen to what your body is actually trying to tell you instead of stuffing it down. So there's so many aspects to this, like even within like transforming, PMS and hormonal balance, all of this stuff. Like there's so many layers to this kind of stuff, and there's all these different things we can take, herbs and ways that we can connect and ways that we can create the balance, right? But again, none of that can actually create like long-term, can have like a real long-term effect where it's actually transformed for life if you're ignoring your body's wisdom, if you're ignoring the symptoms, right? The symptoms of pain, of anything that comes up for us, is the body talking to you. So it really is coming into this deep listening and a deep honoring of whatever is coming up for us. So, does anyone have any questions so far from anything that's come up, or any curiosities around like your own experience or anything?
I was just going to share that it's not a question, but a couple years ago I used to offer my blood. That was something I did every month. And my garden was like right outside my door. And I moved to like, I live in a second story zone now. so now I have to like go down the step, like a full flight of steps, and like out to my garden, and it's just like bringing up a lot for me that I kind of just lost that ritual for myself over the past couple of years, because I just factored it in my mind that I just don't have time. You know, like I and similar though, like when I'm bleeding and I feel pain, I've got my wound salve, and like I do take Advil some days for day one, and because I have to like, you know, show up, and it just, yeah, it hurts inside to just know that over the past, you know, 10 years I still like somewhat don't slow down, just because of all the, you know, the pressures in my life. And so just really rehearing it again is nice to try to make changes when I go home.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. The key is don't try to do that. You get to do it. You get to actually do it. Because what's so beautiful is that the part of us we get to be with in the choosing. If you choose this path, it's full on Matrix style. It's like red pill, blue pill. Do you want to like take the Advil and like stuff it down and be like, I gotta work and make money and show up for all the shit? Or you take the red pill and you like go down the rabbit hole and you're like, what the fuck is down here? It's never ending. When you choose that and you really choose to dive into that, the money, the work, the opportunities come flooding in like you can't even imagine. Because the universe rewards you for showing the fuck up and stepping up to the initiation, for choosing to answer the call. Be like, okay, I hear you calling. It's like, you're either gonna like turn down the call, just like Neo in that moment, Matrix, right? He's like, oh fuck, this sounds crazy, I don't know if I want to do that. And he's like, well, if you hang up, you go right back to it, you answer the call, you're diving in. Let's see how far the rabbit hole goes. And so, but when you choose to dive in and see how far it goes, that's when everything starts to shift. And it's so fucking real, the amount that changes. When I work with people and I dive into these experiences, it's wild. Within one day, they're like, oh my God, this person called me and I just got $5,000 offered, from literally choosing to be like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna show up for myself and I'm gonna do what I need to do for myself. It's so fast because literally like everything is conspiring in your favor to bring you the gifts that are meant for you. It's like, you can imagine, it's like everything is possible. Everything, anything, all of it is possible. And it's all already here. It's like literally here. It's all here. And when you choose to show up for yourself and you choose to care for yourself, to tend to your body, to tend to the original temple that is our body, the universe is like, oh shit, they're doing it. Yeah, here you go. Here's more to support you on your path, to support you in that decision. And more things will appear. The teacher, you know, the idea of like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And the student's like, okay, I'm done doing this. I'm ready to show up. That's when Morpheus is like, here you go. Let's go down the rabbit hole. Right? And that's what we're doing here today. It's like you can leave here and choose to do the same thing over and over again, or you can leave here and choose to do it differently. You can choose to, you know, read the book. You can choose to dive deeper. You can choose to have, you know, if you want to dive deeper with me, I'm here for you. If you know, even just like showing up for your local women's circle or red tent ceremony, or, you know, just starting to connect more deeply with your body in these ways and giving your blood to the earth. So it really does, it all begins here, but because it's so simple, it's so simple, it's like, it's confusing. It's like too much for the mind. The mind's like, there's no way it could be that simple. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's gotta be complicated. We really like to complicate things, like really a lot. Life is actually so much more simple than we've been taught. And when we can come back to the simplicity and remembering that like whatever is easy, whatever feels like that's right. That's what's right. Whatever is like, yummy, that's where you get to go. So if your body is like, oh, tight and tense and like, oh, I don't know, this doesn't feel good, then don't do it. And there's a balance to that, because also the things that are uncomfortable is where we grow. So it's being able to be so in tune with the body that you can feel into when something is a like, like, no, I'm not doing that, or when something is like, ooh, there's something there for me. It feels uncomfortable, but that's actually like deep growth. That's actually expansion. And so to become so in tune with our bodies by making that decision to do the thing that feels uncomfortable, like in that moment when you feel like you don't have the time or the space to tend to your body and to feel the emotions, to feel the grief and to feel the pain, and to do whatever is going to be most nurturing for your body, and to choose to take the pill and go to work and all that, right? That's the uncomfortable choice in a way, or the comfortable choice, because you're so used to continuing to show up for work. You're used to continuing to like, well, I got to show up and I got to do the thing. So when you're so used to doing the same thing over and over again, it's actually uncomfortable to stop and to do it different, to make the other decision, to choose to dive in, to choose to love yourself, to choose to show up for yourself. But this is where the alchemical magic begins. This is where the initiation begins, is really choosing to know that you actually are an alchemist. You are so fucking powerful. You have the keys within you. Like everything that you want is already within you. Everything that you deeply desire, it's already here. And it is a choosing of it. We just breathe this in for a moment, the simplicity of this, and let it land in your body for a moment. Let it land wherever it's meant to. Deep breaths. Remembering that this is where it all begins. This is really where it all begins. It's choosing to show up for you. Choosing to dive into you. Choosing to love yourself. To stand up for yourself. To honor, to cherish, to nurture, to tend to yourself like you've never done before. And honestly, like we've very likely never even been shown how to do this. And honoring that, like this is not something that we've been shown. And so of course, it makes perfect sense that we're not doing this yet, right? Or maybe we're doing it, dabbling with it in different ways. But this was not something that I was shown. I got initiated into this path through debilitating pain. Through pain where I literally wanted to kill myself. I was in so much pain. From my womb, tells you she yells at me. Like from every month during my luteal phase, just right before you bleed, being in the most excruciating pain I've ever known, where I was like, I could just die now. Like I don't need to live. This is fine. I could just be done now. So extreme. And it was for anywhere from like 4 to like 7 days. And I could do nothing. I couldn't make phone calls. I couldn't do anything because I was so debilitated by the pain that it was like, I literally couldn't function. I could barely even make food for myself. It was so bad. And the extreme ignoring, it was so extreme. I didn't do anything major about this for multiple years. Every month. For 4 to 7 days. Every month. Every like 2.5 weeks. Every 2.5 to 3 weeks. The cycle is on a 28-day cycle. For usually about 7 days of that, I was dead to the world. And I ignored it and stuffed it down. for so long. It's honestly like insane when I think about it. I'm like, how the fuck did I live like that? Because I was so, I don't even know. But it took me choosing to dive into the pain. And I remember this this moment where I was, so often when we're in pain, we tighten, we clench, we like squeeze, we bear down our like, that, and we like squeeze into this tight little ball. And there was this moment where I was on the ground, just like squeezing into this tight little ball and screaming and crying and just like, why? What the fuck? Like, just kill me. And I had this very clear voice come through, and it was that of like, the only way out is through. And the only thing you can do when you're in this tight little, it was like, the only thing you can do now, or all that is left to do, is to open. All you could do from here is just like open. And it was just open, open, open. And I was like, how do I open when I'm in this much pain? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to open. And I like started to peel back and open. And I'm just like, and I just opened everything. Opened my arms, opened my legs, opened my voice, opened every part of my body. And I allowed that opening to open. It like opened every part of me. And the screaming pain started to shift into orgasmic sounds of this like, ah, ah, and it was like became orgasmic. I like let it like fuck me open, basically. Like let the pain like fuck me open to God. And it was so psychedelic. I was just like rolling around, just like, ah. And that was like the beginning. That was the beginning of my initiation of like a victim of like, why, right? Like in the ball, screaming, crying, why is this happening to me? I want to die. Victim to victor of like, oh wait, I'm a fucking powerful alchemist and I can transform this pain. And that was where it all began. And so since then, I've been on the journey of opening, opening, opening. When all I want to do is close, can you choose to open when you want to close? And that became this like mantra. It's like, I choose to open when I want to close. And I've been on this journey now for multiple years. And part of this initiation is to honor and to know that it's not something that goes away. This womb alchemy is not something that just goes away. I'm not like, oh, now it's done. It is a dance. It's a dance with my womb. It's a dance with that part of you that causes pain or suffering. Because it comes through you in those moments where you're experiencing that pain or whatever it might be as a, like shining a light. Like shining the light on like the place that is calling out for your attention. And that this is not something, it's gonna be something I deal with every single month. And now I've come to the recognition that my womb is my guidance system for how well I'm tending to my temple. So when I go through a cycle where she is, as I like to call it, yelling at me and be like, what the fuck, bitch, you didn't take care of yourself this month. I see it as that. She's literally like, you did not care for yourself very well this month, and that's why I'm yelling at you. I know, listening. But now I see it as that. I'm not like, fuck you, I hate you, why are you doing this to me? Like, again, the victim, right? It's shifting out of that and to realize, like, how is this happening for you? And asking yourself that when you're in that moment. Why is this, like, what is here for you? What is the gift in this? And that is, again, the complete flipping it all on its head of being like, I'm a victim of my circumstance. I have to take the pills and take off work, or I have to still like fight hard and go to work and make it happen. And all of that, right? And you're completely flipping it around and choosing to actually dive into the pain, to dive into the sensations, and to see it as a gift. And I remember one of the moments where I was like in it and feeling it, because it's not something that's just like you get it and then it never happens again. It's like I get it and then I have that moment again and I go through that pain it's in the moment that you feel it, it's to choose to do it different. And so I remember being, I continue to have these experiences, and one of the moments where I was in the depth of that pain and that closure, and I chose
Just a time check.
okay, what time do we have until? Oh, okay.
I mean, you can go over. I don't think we have.
What time is starting?
Immediately after.
Okay, what time is the next one starting? Oh, okay.
Yeah. But we have to reset the whole space, but there's
okay.
no rush.
Bathroom? Yeah. Are you leaving, Luck? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for being here. We can wrap it up. Are you leaving?
Yeah.
Okay, I love you.
My own cycle right now.
Come back at 6.
Take care of that.
Mind workshop.
Perfect. Delilah's doing a workshop at 6.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, come back.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Are you trying to come through?
wrap it up.
Do you want to come in? Do you want to come in? Sorry to bring like a little chaotic energy in as
Okay,
you
and hopefully you
enter.
don't have to reset. Nothing is like messy, so hopefully you don't have to reset too much. Pretty gentle and yeah.
I'm curious if you could share a little bit, like specifically about like blood offering and
Yeah.
how you go about that process. Like it's,
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
been entering my sphere, so it's very new to me.
Yeah.
I live in an RV sometimes. So like I'm in an RV park with people like 5 feet away, and I'm just like logistically like talk to me like I'm a 3-year-old. How would you recommend? Maybe like different devices or things that tampon uses.
Totally.
Use that. Like how does that logistically?
Totally.
I
So
feel fucking amazing.
one of the things that I recommend. Bye, love. Thank you all for being here. Okay. And if you guys want to stay in touch, you can look up my name, Damiana Loves on Instagram. Damiana Loves You on Instagram. If you want to be in touch or want more support. So with the blood offering, one of the ways that I really love to do it is to actually, this is a choice of like really choosing to show up for yourself and to not do as much when you're bleeding, but it's to actually free bleed, which means that you're not, wow, so magical that it's raining as hard right now. She's like Amritaing on us, thank you. So it's actually like the highest way, the highest and best way I would say is to actually just let yourself free bleed, which is to not have to you don't have to show up and do anything specific to where you have to go somewhere. If you bleed really heavy, obviously, that can be more challenging, but when you become more and more in tune with your body, you can feel when she's releasing. So you'll feel all of a sudden, oh wow, I'm bleeding a lot. And you can have even a jar that you just go in, or you can have a beautiful bowl that you go and you sit on top of when you're really bleeding. If you do you have a backyard, I mean, even if you're in an RV, I'm do you go to different places? You can go and be in nature in your RV? Yeah, okay. Well, when you are, but you can actually go and free bleed on the earth. That is okay, we'll go in steps. Highest and best is free bleed on the earth, and to give it as an offering. And also the way that we give offerings, it's all it is your focused energy in your, and that desired focus, intention, it's magic. That's it. So it's I release this magic, this gift as an offering to the earth. May this feed you. May this nourish you. I receive my gift as an offering. It can be so simple. It can literally just be a thank you, receive it. So it doesn't have to be some big, long thing. Oftentimes we make these things too much that we don't do it. Remember, everything is so simple, right? It all comes back to just how it's all so fucking simple. So actually, the simpler the prayer, the better. You have a 10-minute long prayer, that's actually kind of confusing for the universe. It's I don't really know what you're asking for, right? But if you're just oh yes, thank you for my bleed, thank you for this life, thank you for the magic of this life, and may you give life to that which feeds me constantly, to that which is constantly holding me, supporting me, loving me, nourishing me in every fucking way. Like, we are so held and supported by this earth in every way. And if you ever forget how abundant you are, go into nature. Just go into nature and be with the trees and look at like the fruit that is just being given freely, right? It's just pure magic. So it can be just that simple, like, thank you, I love you. You know, maybe, and if there's something specific that you are releasing and that you want to shed in that moment, say you were moving through a really intense cycle around like a relationship, or maybe you're releasing the need to, you know, show up for work and make money or whatever it is. It's like, with this release of this is an offering that I actually release the need to work so hard. I release the need to show up for these people that are not showing up for me. It's like, whatever it might be. So it can be, you know, as you're giving this, you're releasing these parts of you, and our blood is a release. It's a shedding of the sacred part of us. So it is this beautiful, beautiful gift, such a gift. And so again, part of that shifting is like to see it as a gift, to see the blood as a gift. So the next thing would be, if you have a free bleed on the earth, to bleed into like a bowl or something, and then you can go and take that to the earth. You add water. So if you give the blood, you can just give the blood directly to the earth, but it's also very, very, very strong and like its potency. So you can also, one thing I like to do is like add water, and then I can disperse it to many plants. So it like goes further. And the mixture, it makes like a beautiful, powerful mixture. And it's like you're literally feeding the earth with this magic. Like, anything you give your blood, like, you could actually do an experiment where you give one plant your blood, but the other plants can be really sad and jealous. So like, don't do this for long, honestly. But like, you will see the difference. That plant will be like, like so bursting open with life, because you just gave it all of this nourishment, all this nutrients. So I like to disperse it because I'll like hear the plants like, you didn't give me blood this month. I'm sorry. You know, so it's nice to like, you know, even it out amongst your magical plants. And then also, the more you start to become in tune with your body, the more you become in tune with everything, with the, you know, the flowers and the trees. And so you'll hear the, you know, the trees. You'll go out into nature and you'll be like, who would love to receive my blood? And like, you'll hear this tree in the back be like, me, please. So you can, you know, you become just more connected to all things. Again, as above, so below, as within, so without. The more we connect in, the more we tune in, the more you can tune into everything around you. The more you start what we're doing is, this is the foundation of, it's like Jedi training. It's like activating your superpowers that we all have. Your ability to, you know, your psychic abilities, your ability to like hear things, see things, like have visions, you know, really to open up the oracular channel. And so as you start to deepen into this connection with yourself, you really are activating all of your powers. And so this is, I'm actually launching a mystery school here soon, and it's actually, this is the foundation of it. It's literally this, and it's just so funny because it's just so simple, but it's like there's so many layers to it. But if you ever get confused, just come back to the simplicity of that it actually gets to be much simpler than you've been taught. And if it ever gets like confusing, it's just like, okay, simplicity. And just be a part of that which feeds you. You want to be feeding that which is constantly feeding you. So giving the offering. So bleeding into the bowl. The next thing would be, I would say, so the like panties, like the period panties, moon cycle panties. Because then what you can do is you can bleed into them, and then you wring them out into a bowl. And you like rinse them. I rinse them, like wash them in a bowl, so that you can then gather the blood, and then you can give it that way. Yeah.
I just want to, for anyone who doesn't already use bleeding panties, be so careful. So many brands have toxic chemicals in them that are so harmful to your yoni. So just make sure you're
Which is
buying.
the one that doesn't have that?
Oh, thanks to one that definitely do. I know a really beautiful sister. She's called Little Plant Lady, and she is all plant-dyed organic cotton. Also solar sewn. She lives off grid, and all her stuff is made with solar power. And that's plant-dyed, organic cotton.
So
Moonbees. Yeah.
So looking for the organic cotton and like the more natural brands, like the big brands.
The bigger brands, and unfortunately the cheaper brands are all, they've got chemicals in them. It's really unfortunate, and they're just trying to poison us from all levels. So be careful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's also these like liners that are you can put on your, it's cotton and it's just reusable, you wash it, but that you can clip, like snap, it snaps onto your panties, and so that's one that you can do also. It's just like, yeah, cotton fabric. I can't remember, it's party.
Halo pads are what
Okay. I think we should like make a list.
Yeah.
We'll have to, like, maybe we could get gather everyone's phone numbers or something, and we could gather we could gather a list of ones that are high quality, because that is really important, the quality of what we're utilizing. So another thing that you can do is, so the menstrual cups are really wonderful for actually like collecting the blood, but because it does create this like suction, and when you're pulling it out, I can feel my cervix being like pulled down when I go to take it out. So I've kind of recently I don't use that as often. What I do is I tune in, I'll like put the cup by my yoni, and she'll tell me if it's like, okay, I'm okay to receive this right now, because you're like sticking this thing up inside of her. This is also a part of the foundation of this shifting, is connecting with and speaking to our wombs and our yonis, and to actually learn to listen to them, and just, to like ask questions and to listen and be like, do you want this? Which is really important that we do before you let someone enter you. Also, it's a whole other topic, but that's like really, really fucking important. Do not let a man enter your body unless you are like, all parts are a yes. And that's a part of like tuning in and listening, because sometimes your mind is like, yes, I want this so bad, or like the heart is like, I want this, but then your yogi's like, fuck no, like, do not let this person inside of me, right? So it's like making sure that all parts of us are in congruence, which is something that is really, really vital, because letting someone inside of you that is not aligned, it actually can create a lot of suffering, especially like if they're not energetically like really there for you and available. It creates all of these like emotional bonds, and it's just, yeah, it's a lot of layers to that. We can drop in more on that if you want to dive deeper. Did you have a question or something? It looks like, okay.
I was looking for the men.
Okay.
I'm curious, something I switched to about a year ago was, because I know you mentioned the cups, and yeah, I totally get what you mean about like the suction, and is the discs, which like go all the way up and kind of no suction or anything, they just rest right there.
Has anyone used one of those? I've never used
They're
one.
very new.
Do they feel
and,
more
like,
gentle?
Not popular. Yeah, there's no suction, so like it's literally just a catch that goes all the way up.
Okay, yeah, I've never
and
used
it goes
it.
in that kind of like the
Yeah,
area,
I've
and it
seen
just
it.
rests there. So there's no suction, there's no anything, and it cools it all, and then you just pull it right out.
Yeah.
And it's all perfectly.
I've seen that, but I haven't used it before.
They're working
what
really
I
well
suggest.
for me.
Okay, great.
So I
That's
just
what I was
wanted to
gonna
put
say.
that out there, like,
try it.
there's some natural ones that are like chemical free and stuff, and I've really deeply struggled with this of like, is this unnatural? And all my friends are using the period panties and all the other things, and it just works really well for me. And I love what you said about like asking her.
Yeah.
Because
that's what I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, is to just ask her if like this is something that feels good, and if she's like, yeah, this is nice, I don't mind this, it's like, great. So the main thing is like, we want to keep her happy, and we want to keep our wombs happy and our bodies, and so we get to nourish them, nurture them, and this is one of the ways that we can do that. Another thing is by like drinking womb tea. I'm really big on like the herbs. The herbs are very, very powerful for the womb, and she just like sucks them up. I can really tell the difference. This is part of like really tending to our wombs. Like, I really notice the difference when I'm consistently drinking my womb tea, and I actually make a really, really yummy herbal blend that you can also, it's also like, you can use it in many different ways, but my favorite way is like as a tea, but it can also be a yoni steam. And nourishing her, it's like feeding, right? You want to like feed her in many ways. So also eating really bloody things, like if you think about things like deep from the earth, like beets, like think of their blood, right? It's like, we make beets, it's like bloody. If you like poop blood looking, it's like, yeah, that's magic right there. So beets and like dark leafy greens, like those are like bloody. Like think about like plant blood is deep, rich green. So yeah, so things and things that nourish the womb. So avocados, things that look like a womb. Avocados look like a womb. I was like, yeah, that's for your womb. There's a lot of things like that, and even Brazil nuts, the selenium. So there's a lot of different things that you can also eat to feed your womb. And when you combine these things with also the more open your hips, the better. All around, basically. Yeah. The more, so when you're experiencing a lot of aching and tenderness in your womb, I can actually like show you a couple really good ones. It's basically like major hip openers, like what is this called? Frog. Right? Okay, so this one coming down here and open, and then you like go more and more and more open. And then just let gravity like take your body down as much as you can, and you can go up this way too, like stretch this way. And opening your legs like wide, like opening like full splits in the air. I like lay back and have my legs open that way, and pulling your legs down. Happy baby. But like really practicing pulling your legs, going all the way down to the ground, like as much as possible, you know. Over time, you just like stretch and stretch and stretch open. Also this is like my favorite, and just like the palm of the hand. And then going open and like pushing open the legs this way, and you can go like open that way. So the more open your hips, the easier, if you think about it, you're like preparing for birth, right? You want the more open you can be in this part of your body, the easier your cycles will be. The easier it'll be to release. You're also, you really are also preparing. It's all like you're preparing for motherhood, and whether you have a baby or not, you're preparing to step into the mother, from maiden to mother. So all of these ways of nurturing, showing up, tending to our body, tending to the blood, tending to the way that our bodies are talking to us, and asking instead of just being like, oh, this is what I'm doing now. It's like, well, does your body even want that? Like checking in, even before you take a pill. Like before you just stuff it down. It's like, is this, like, have a moment. Is this what my body is needing right now? Or is there something else I could do that's going to be more nourishing, more beneficial for my body? Was there another question that you had about, you're saying like the practices around the blood? Okay. So another thing that I do really suggest is to become like part of this tending to and this nourishing is to connect more deeply with our blood, and to really see the blood as magic. It's such powerful magic. And when you, again, the deeper we go into listening to our bodies in all these ways, the more you can listen to all things. And so I've had some very, very profound experiences from listening to my blood. And this is not something, bless you, again, all of this stuff that's come through me, it's not like, no one was like, oh, go listen to your blood. And I'm like, okay, I'll try that. Like, this all came from my experience, where I like had my blood in my cup, and one time I was holding it in my mouth because I was doing something, and I was like trying to find a thing to put it in, and I had it in my mouth, and I accidentally like got it in my lip, and I was like, whoa, and it got in my mouth, and I was like, oh, I had this moment, and my body was like, and it was just like, more. Like, it was so clear. She was like, more, I want that. And I was like, what the fuck, are you kidding me? And it was like, my body was literally telling me to drink my blood. And I like had a moment, and I like smelled it. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? This is crazy. I was like, I don't know. And then she's like, no, it's fine, you got this. I was like, it's gonna be so good. So I just like tried like a little bit. And I was really being with this experience where I like smelled it. I was like, wow, okay. The smell was so pure. It was like almost no smell, just slightly like iron, like that bloody smell, but so pure. You can really tell the difference. Sometimes the blood is like thick, and there's tissues, and you can tell when a bleed is like deep releasing, like you just went through some fucking crazy shit, and that is like all of that shit being released. Like, that just wants to go to the earth. You don't need to drink that, right? What?
I said, and then there's that beautiful
yes,
red,
like the
yummy
crimson red, where like you're like, oh my God. And so what I invite you to do is to look at it, have a moment, breathe it in, smell it, and your body will tell you if it's like, oh my God, yes, like I want this, or if it's like, it'll tell you what it wants. It'll tell you what it wants to be done, so to have done with it. So I had this experience of being told to drink it, and that was my first time drinking my blood, and no one ever told me about drinking my blood, and I literally was like thinking I'm a crazy person, but I was like, no, I'm gonna listen. I'm like in such the practice and like the commitment to listen to my body. So I was like, okay, I trust you, I'm gonna do this. And it was so powerful. The energy that I felt in my body, like the surge, this like primordial like I was just like, whoa, what the fuck is happening? And then I proceeded to paint my face with my blood for the first time, and I was just like going at it, like looking in the mirror, and I was like, oh my God, And I actually have this like these beautiful pictures of me of afterwards, and I was like, oh my God, looking at myself in the mirror, had this profound experience witnessing myself all bloody like this, and it was beautiful art. Like I was guided to paint it in this beautiful way, and I was just having this like, oh my God, like seeing me in a very different way, like this fierce warrior, and seeing different lives. Like I saw so much from that experience, and that was fully guided. Like no one else out, again, it's not out here. Like that was fully from going in and listening. So what I invite you to do is that same kind of practice of like, she'll tell you, like, paint with me. I've like drawn with the blood. I've, you know, painted my face. I've done, it's also really amazing, like masks. Like if you ever like making blood masks on your skin, you can really tell the difference. It's kind of wild. It just like rejuvenates your skin. It's like the best mask. It's wild. So yeah, doing like face mask, and it cracks just like, you know, it like gets tight, and you're like, oh, it's like so wild. You're just like, wow, my face looks so, it's like a Botox kind of thing. Oh yeah, okay. Forgot timing. Thank you.
I completely forgot too. I was just like,
yeah.
Love the blood.
Yeah, right. Thank you. So, yeah, so again, there's so many layers to this. Obviously, this is like such a little taste, but just knowing that the best thing you can do is just to start to cultivate a deeper relationship. Again, all comes back to relationship. So it's your relationship to your blood, your relationship to your cycle, to your body, to knowing that the power is within you to transform your experience, and that it's right here and right now. It's not over there. It's not once you do that course or do that thing. It's like, I'm here to support you if you want to go deeper, and I can absolutely do that. And I have so many skills and tools that I've gained from helping myself transform my experience and many other people. But it also, you don't have to do anything outside of yourself. Also, it's also available like already here within you, and it does begin with the listening. And when you dive deeper into that listening, you'll also know when it's like, I'm actually ready for a mentor. I'm ready for someone to guide me deeper into this. Or like your body's like, you got this. Like, I'm good for now, right? Like how did I get here? I didn't get here through anyone else. I got here through my own listening and through my own initiatory process. Like literally my womb initiated me. Like this was where it all began. And now that I've gone on that initiatory journey, now I can help others in that, because I've learned so much from my experience. And basically the only difference is now I can just help people so much faster. It took me a really long time. Like, you know, it's like now I've got these codes kind of unlocked, and it's easier to guide people like really quick. And so part of what I just want to leave you with also is cystic fibroids, ovarian cysts, endometriosis, PCOS, like extremely heavy bleeding, pre-cervical cancer, all of that and everything else can be naturally transformed. I've healed myself from many of those things that I was told I could never heal myself, from the straight doctor being like, yeah, you get surgery or you do this, that's it, that's all you can do. And I was like, well, I'm not choosing that. So, you know, thanks for letting me know, and I'm going to go on this journey. And I've transformed all of it, and I've helped other women do the same. So just know that getting the full hysterectomy is not the answer. Getting these things just like cut out of your body, and getting the, you know, colposcopies where they like take pieces of you, and like, you don't have to do that. That is a way. It is not the way. So just knowing, like, the thing that I really want to like help impart on our culture more than ever is just that you have options, and that you don't have to just listen to your doctor. Your doctor is not God. Like, please do not just take what they say. They don't care about you the same way that, you know, your mom cares about you. But your mom probably has been told to listen to her doctor, so she'll be like, go to the doctor, do what he said. But like, that is not the shit, you know. And there's so many alternatives to all this. And like I said, the womb tea, how you feed yourself, the stretching, like there's all of these things that you can do. And I've got lots of resources for that, and different practices, and, you know, videos, and can guide you in different things. And there's so many resources out there. Again, this is the number one book that I recommend for women when we start on the journey. It's actually what I require when they dive in with me. I like require that they read this book. Yeah, and that's like the beginning, because it's just the starting to deepen into your own alchemy that is here for you. So, yeah, thank you all so much for being here and choosing to dive into you, into the magic, the mystery, the miracle of you, knowing that this is really where it all begins. And yeah, I'm so grateful for your presence. It's the greatest gift you can give is your presence, and like the greatest gift you can give anyone and yourself. And again, that is where it all begins, is you giving yourself that presence that your body is craving. Your body is craving your love. Not a man, not your, these other people. They're not craving that love that actually needs your love. And from that place, then you can experience the love of a soulmate, the love of your mother. You can experience so much more love from other people because of you loving you like you've never loved you before. So again, this is the time to make that choice, to choose you, to love you like you've never done before. And that will be the thing. Like, this has the power today, right here and now. If you make this decision to step into that, this has the power that this could be the day that everything shifted. You don't even have to go further with me. We may never see each other again. Just you taking on this commitment for yourself can truly be the thing that changes everything. Because when you dive in this way, like I said, everything in your life transforms. You will not be doing the same work. You will not be having the same relationship to your partner or to money or to the earth. Everything shifts. I guarantee it. I've seen it time and time again, and I've experienced it for myself over and over and over again. So just know you hold the keys. They live within you, and it is a choice. It is a choice. From victim to victor, from maiden to mother, this is the initiation. So thank you all for being here. So grateful. And for those of you who have a moment, they can start resetting. We can go out here, and I have a little gift. I can give it back to you at the house.
Yes, at the house.
But I have a little offering to be a part of more of this movement, and a reminder to come home to the original temple that you are. So I'm happy to give these to people who would love a reminder to help support and anchoring this in. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much for bringing this beautiful workshop and talking about the blood mysteries in the space. That's what this red tent is for, that and so much more. And the next workshop is at 4. It's called Womb as Oracle by our priestess sister Antonia. So feel free to stay. Feel free to go pee and come back, or go bleed and come back, and we'll be here.
Go water
Thank
a
you so
tree.
I'm going to share also at 6 p.m. Come back. Basically, my workshop is the embodiment of everything you were talking about, going into connecting with ourselves, loving ourselves and each other, and like creating a womb ceremony together, touch, love. It's just gonna be really juicy, yummy, sensual, pleasure body. We're gonna do some hip opening, and yeah, it's gonna be really fun. So.
Amazing. And that is highly, like, that is the key. So my other main thing is sensual awakening and orgasmic liberation. That's like my whole thing, and so much of what we both are about. And that is like, as you're on this journey, like, that is the foundation. Another foundational key is the sensual embodiment, to like really be in the body. Not out of the mind, into the body, into the pleasure, into the magic of the sensations that are here for you. So yeah,
Awakening
that'll
our
be super
superpower.